Cadiz is going to be hosting FC Barcelona, and let me set the stage here. Cadiz is going to be fighting to get out of the relegation zone. They're in the bottom, and they're going to need 3 points to go above Celta Vigo. And if you look at where Celta Vigo is at, they're going to be visiting Real Betis in their next game. And Real Betis are in 8th place, so there is a possibility that Real Betis could beat Celta and stay with the exact same points. And if Cadiz can gain 3 points against Barcelona, they can go over Celta and get out of the relegation zone. So I assume that Cadiz is going to go to Barcelona with everything. They're going to be at home. They're going to be having the full support. The fans know their current predicament. And so Barcelona are going to have to be very, very careful about what could happen. And that is why Xavi Hernández was saying it's going to be a very complicated rival. And Barcelona for sure will have to be on top of their toes. Now here's going to be the good news. Even though their scenario could be a slight positive for them, like a motivational factor, right? Overall, Cadiz has been a team that has not been so great this season. They are the worst goal scoring team in La Liga with only 21 goals that has been scored. They average 0.7 goals per 90 minutes. That's really, really bad. They're also the second worst team when it comes to possession. The only thing that Cadiz is good at is accumulating red cards. They are the second best team in La Liga when it comes to red cards, and they have 6. So Cadiz is not a good team. But again, who knows what's going to be happening in this match? Cadiz might do something so different that Xavi Hernández cannot even predict. So it's going to be complicated, but Barcelona have to go on full force. And if they go on full force, Barcelona can win. Now, I'm going to be honest here. As I was assessing this match between Barcelona and Cadiz, the one thing that was always on the back of my mind was the match against PSG and the match against Real Betis. I cannot stop thinking about those two matches, even though we know that the next game is against Cadiz and we have to take it one step at a time. But dude, like those two games, PSG on Tuesday, Real Madrid on Sunday, which will be 4 to 5 days later, Barcelona have to be very careful what they do against Cadiz because we don't want anybody getting injured, anybody getting enough yellow cards that they might miss the next match. It's really hard to think about just Cadiz. And Barcelona are like one step closer to going to the semifinals. They're one step closer to get into a 5-point gap with Real Madrid in La Liga. So I'm going to assume, based off the predicament that Barcelona is in right now, that we're going to go into this match with a lot of rotation. More rotations than we have ever seen before. Xavi also stated this earlier today during the press conference, and this is what he said. Next week, there is El Clásico, and if we win El Clásico, we will be 5 points away, and we still have options. If we lose, Real Madrid will almost have it in hand, but tomorrow will be a difficult match. Xavi Hernández also wanted to give out some clues on what type of 11 we could see go up against Cadiz, and this is what he said. Mika Faye is ready. Tomorrow could be a great day for him. I see him ready to play, and dude, I'm telling you, if we see Mika Faye go up against Cadiz, maybe start or maybe play 20 minutes in the last half of the match, I would be very, very excited. I would like nerd out. Then Xavi Hernández continues to say, we want to give Gundogan rest. He is making a tremendous effort and he is no longer a teenager. One day we will rest him despite the great audition he provides us. It has also been said according to multiple sources that Gundogan most likely will be rested against Cadiz tomorrow. He has played a total of 44 games this season and he does need rest. Then Xavi Hernández wanted to speak about Vitor Roque, and this is what he said. We prepared a video showing his movements in space for tomorrow. He offers us a lot and he will definitely get minutes to play. We have to take advantage of that and try to make him understand positional play. And so there you have it. Like, to the people and to the haters who always wanted to call out Xavi Hernández and Joan Laporta and Deco with the fact that Vitor Roque has not been playing at all, and that supposedly, right, Barcelona wasted 43 million euros on Vitor Roque only, just because he hasn't been playing. There you have it. It is because of sporting reasons. Victor Font was the one that wanted to cause tensions within the club for no reason. He said Barcelona wasted 43 million euros on 2 players who don't even get used. One of them was Vitor Roque. But the reason why Vitor Roque has not been playing is because he does not understand positional play and the basics to play at Barcelona. And that's normal because he's young. He's 19 years old. He's coming from Brazil. You expect him to just score a bunch of goals and start over Lewandowski? And at Barcelona? Really? There was no reason for Victor Font to be saying things like that. It is just very short-term, minimal thinking. Like, the 43 million euros that we have invested on Vitor Roque was not for the gain that we are going to be getting this season. It was for us to gain a lot in the future. Vitor Roque is going to be a player for the future, not right now. And I don't know if you guys know, but basically positional play is when a player takes up certain positions to attempt to create numerical advantages, to create passing triangles or diamonds, etc. This is one of the ways Xavi Hernández has been able to progress his team to go into the final third. It's through positional play. Vitor Roque has to learn that. And so expect to see the debut of Mika Faye. Expect for Vitor Roque to start over Lewandowski, expect a different defense, a midfield, and the attack. And that is what's going to lead us to the starting 11 that we could see go up against Cadiz. As a matter of fact, this is probably what I would put. I don't know if Xavi Hernández is going to go this intense, but I would like to see something like this. Hector Fort, Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez, and Marcos Alonso at the back. Yes, I know. We're not going to be having Cancelo. We're not going to be having Araujo or Koundé. I would like to see these 4 players in the back. And I know that you guys are probably like so surprised to see that Marcos Alonso is in the starting 11. Yes, I know. Alonso is still with us. Surprise, surprise, right? Alonso has not played like at all for Barcelona this season. Like literally nothing. I think that he has only made 4 appearances for Barcelona this season. So I think that Alonso would be more than happy to start on the left back position. As for our midfield, I expect to see Frankie, Sergi Roberto, and Fermin Lopez. Many of you guys are going to be asking, but Kevin, what about Christensen? Why don't you just put Christensen with Sergi Roberto and Fermin Lopez so Frankie de Jong can have some rest? Keep in mind, like I've said, it's very hard to think about just Cadiz when you know that you are going to be having more important matches after this. Christensen in La Liga has 4 yellow cards. If he gets 1 more yellow card in this match, he's not going to be featuring in the game against Real Madrid, and we're definitely going to be needing Christensen in that game. It's going to be very important. So that is why I do say, like, I don't want to see Christensen go up against Cadiz at all. I mean, like, look at what happened in the match against PSG in the first leg. Christensen got enough yellow cards to the point where he's going to be missing the second leg. We're not going to be having Christensen at all on Tuesday. And so can you imagine we miss Christensen for the match against PSG and for the match against Real Madrid? It will be a disaster because we need a defensive pivot to be paired with Frankie de Jong. It's already bad enough. So I assume that it's going to be Frankie, Sergi, and Fermin Lopez. As for the front 3, I expect to see Ferran Torres on the right wing, Vitor Roque to be starting, and Joao Felix on the left wing position. In my opinion, I think that this is reasonable. It's good enough. The team is strong and strong enough to command possession and to score a lot of goals. I'm going to assume that Vitor Roque is really going to want to start and score goals because, you know, I just think that he's so determined to play. Like the last game that he played was back on March 30th. You know how long ago that was? It was against Las Palmas. And in that game, he only played 9 minutes. 2 weeks before that, he played against Atletico Madrid 2 weeks before. And in that game, he only played 13 minutes. I know that Vitor Roque is dying for minutes and dying to score goals to make some sort of impact. As for Mika Faye, I would like to see Mika Faye come in for Inigo Martinez in the last 15 to 20 minutes. Can you imagine if Xavi Hernández gives us the blessing to see the dynamic duo of Mika Faye and Cubarsí? Can you imagine that? I think that if you can introduce something like this, Cubarsí and Mika Faye in the defensive line, it's really going to ease off pressure from the likes of Koundé and Araujo to not play in every game, because if you can have these players perform together well and gel well as a great partnership, that is going to be only great news for Xavi, for the fans, for the squad in general. Now, I don't think that Mika Faye and Cubarsí are going to be performing like if it was Maldini and Nesta right away. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this could be the beginning of us building something new in the back line. I do believe that Mika Faye deserves it because of how he defends, how he has been scoring goals as of late, and I do think that Xavi will aim to give him about 4 to 5 appearances in these last 2 months. Maybe not play the full game, maybe give him about 15 minutes there, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here, and then in the next season, Xavi can give Mika Faye a more prominent role, because I'm going to be assuming that Marcos Alonso, maybe Inigo Martinez is going to be leaving, which is going to allow for Mika Faye to have even more minutes. I will definitely be talking about it in this YouTube channel if Mika Faye and Cubarsí get paired in the back. I would also like to see Oriol Romeo come in for Frankie de Jong around the 65th minute. You know, Frankie de Jong just returned from injury. Frankie against PSG, he looked solid, but he was not extraordinary. He looked a little slow, I'm not going to lie, and I expect for Frankie to start in the second leg against PSG at our home. And it would only make sense for us to just have Frankie de Jong get rested just a little bit more, because I don't want to just overuse him after he just came back from injury. So ideally in the last 15 to 25 minutes, Oriol Romeo, Sergi Roberto, and Fermin Lopez should be ending the game in the midfield. Now, as for the front 3, Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal, I don't want them to start at all. Maybe, yes, right? Like if they play and they come in, maybe play about 15 minutes, but I don't want to really see these players starting and ending the game. Lewandowski played his heart out against PSG and he played amazing. He did not score or provide an assist, but he was still very important and very effective based off the role that Xavi Hernández has given him. It allowed space for players like Rafinha and others. Yamal, who is just 16 years old, already tells us, right, why he should not be playing everything. And I'm going to assume that Yamal will be starting against PSG. I mean, mean, like, if you look at the first leg, Xavi Hernández was using Lamine Yamal as bait because he was being hugged by Mendes. Mendes was like on top of Yamal because PSG assumed that Yamal was going to be the greatest threat, but the real threat was Rafinha, and that is why Rafinha was able to succeed. So Yamal is going to be used as a decoy to constantly test PSG over and over again through runs, through dribbles, and so I think that Yamal needs to be rested in this game against Cadiz to really go out there against PSG and finish them off. So I'm not trying to say that the league is like less important here. I think that the league is the most important, but in the current predicament that we are in because of injuries, because of potential yellow cards or potential injuries, we need to be well-rounded in all competitions, and we especially must be healthy for the match against Real Madrid. In these last 2 months, right, I want to end it like this. If we continue with the exact same attitude that we have been having over the past 5 to 8 matches, right, the eagerness, the hunger, if we continue and maintain this status, Barcelona can be very successful in both competitions, in La Liga and also in the Champions League, and we cannot afford to drop any more points because I would really hate it for us to beat Real Madrid in the next match of La Liga and then to go back and think, man, if only we beat Cadiz, we probably would have been in a different position. I would hate to be in that predicament. I really don't want to be there. I want to beat Cadiz and then go beat Real Madrid. We cannot afford to drop our confidence, our hunger, because if we do, expect for Cadiz to do damage against us, because we know how low Barcelona can go when their hunger is not there. We have already seen it earlier this season. It's possible for us to suffer against anybody, but as long as we continue to be focused, intense, and hungry, Barcelona can achieve anything. And just because I'm using all of these rotations and why I assume that Barcelona could be approaching Cadiz like this, it does not mean that we should also give out excuses. This starting 11 is good enough, and I want to see Barcelona win at the very least 3-4-0. These last 2 months are also going to be very important for Xavi's future, because I know that Xavi continues to say that he has not changed his decision. He still wants to leave Barcelona, but if we can end on a good note in these last 2 months and really show that we have competed for all competitions and maybe possibly win one title, I swear to you, I think that Xavi Hernández will continue, and it's only going to help Joan Laporta and Deco to persuade Xavi Hernández to stay here at the club, and I believe that Xavi will ultimately say yes. It's also going to be very important for Laporta and Deco to say, hey, look, not only have you showcased that you can succeed with this Barcelona squad and we want you to continue, but we also want to tell you that we want to make good signings in the summer. We can guarantee you these signings. We're going to have enough salary space, enough funds to afford you a great CDM and also Bernardo Silva. It has been reported that Xavi Hernández has either been wanting Kimmich or Zubimendi to reinforce the pivot position and Bernardo Silva, and I believe that that will be the reason for Xavi Hernández to continue, and also for Xavi to feel more secure that in the next season he will have no problems and feel secure that he can coach a normal club, because who in the hell just says that we can't afford no CDM and we have to go through the season without a CDM? I want Xavi to know that he's going to be coaching a normal club next season. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapped up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.